it's been a while since we did one of these conversations, and Pastor Blake asked me to just take us through the logistics of this. So if you were with us through the pandemic when we were meeting remotely, we did one of these every week, which is just the way to scale a conversation in response to what Pastor Ron shared. So I know that some of you right now are like, okay, this looks complicated. I'm not going to do it. And I would challenge you. This is not complicated. I'm going to take the sec to talk you through it. So if you have a personal device, pull it out and join the conversation, because there's no actual way to scale a conversation around this. Did you know that? Pastor Ron will share a message, and then at best, he'll hear from 3 or 4 of you in response, which does not equal a scaled conversation. So he doesn't actually know what you think. So pull out your personal device. Yep. Pull it out. Get it out there, everybody. If you need the Wi-Fi, get on the Wi-Fi. It's Victory Guest. From there, if you open up your camera, you don't have to take a picture of the screen. You just need to point your camera at the QR code and you'll get a link. And then you can click the link that you get. Now, for those of you who this is just way too much for you in this moment, that's totally fine. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. There's another way to join this conversation. Blake's going to email the link to you, and you can click the email link. But that means that you've got to actually spend the time to do it throughout the week. I think that's coming on Monday. So you can watch for that. From there, once you're into the link, you can click go. And there's 3 steps in every exchange. You can respond in the share step in your own words. There's no way to attach your personal profile to the thoughts that are shared, so you can feel free to share honestly and vulnerably in response to the open-ended question. From there, you're going to share a thought, and then you're going to consider and rate the thoughts of others. So once you get into the exchange, share a thought or 2. How would you explain the gospel? What truth about the gospel means the most to you? Maybe it's something from the message this morning. Maybe it's something you're wrestling with. So let's just take a quick minute. I will close my mouth and let you actually share thoughts in response. And then as we go, I'll talk you through the other steps. I'll give you the instructions for either now or for Monday or Tuesday when you're there. So let's take 2 minutes. Share a thought or 2. All right, if you haven't started starring thoughts and you did share a thought, you can go to the star step. And in this step, you're going to consider and rate the thoughts of others. So Pastor Blake said this exchange is going to stay open, so if we rushed you through sharing, you're going to have time throughout the week to keep sharing thoughts. If you want to go to the star step at this point, just scroll down or go skip sharing or go to the star step on your screen. And each thought will be verbatim from this room, shared from peers in this room. And you're just going to weigh in and consider those thoughts on a 5-star scale. So if something resonates with you, give it a 4 or 5. If it's something that actually you like, but it doesn't really resonate with you, it's not how you would explain the gospel, or it's not the thing you think is most profound, you can feel free to give it 1 or 2. That's totally fine. And what we find then through the starring through the sharing of those thoughts and the starring of those thoughts is where we have some common ground, where there's consensus on what resonates with most of us in the words verbatim as one of you or many of you have shared them. So realizing that this is somewhat new for some of us, what we're doing is actually circumventing the thing that happens with pastors all the time, and I know because I am one, which is like, hey church, this is what we think. And everyone says, yes, that's what we think. And it's just not true, is it? This is what we think. But actually, if we say, hey, what do you think? Nobody will answer because the pastor's asking, and that's way too intimidating. So people just said, oh, I think what you said, which doesn't work either. But actually, what we're doing here is saying, hey, what part of the gospel is the biggest truth for you? What do you think? What's your perspective? And we're seeing your perspectives on there, and then we're asking you to consider and rate one another's perspectives to see what the majority of you think is most profound